Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a wise old man named Arin, who was known by all as the silent genius. He lived in a small hut on the edge of the town, never spoke too much, never showed off, and yet, whenever someone faced a tough problem, they would somehow find their way to Arin. His advice was simple but always magical. Word of his wisdom reached the king, who became curious about this silent man. So one day the king invited Arin to the palace and asked him a question. "Wise man, if two men are walking on a path, and one keeps talking loudly about everything he does, and the other walks quietly doing his work, who is wiser?" Arin smiled gently and replied, "The one who reaches his destination without announcing every step." The king was impressed and started calling Arin to the court whenever he needed advice. Slowly, the courtiers grew jealous. "He says so little and gets so much respect," they would whisper. One day, to embarrass Arin, a courtier stood up and said loudly, "If you are so wise, tell us what's more important in life, being successful or being respected?" The entire court went silent, eyes fixed on Arin. The question was tricky, and they all hoped he would get stuck. But Arin simply said, "Success may get you respect, but respect can never be bought with success alone." The king nodded, but the courtiers weren't satisfied. They started mocking Arin's only son, Neel. "Your father is wise, but you are nothing like him," they'd say. The king also teased the boy. "Every time I ask you what's more powerful, a sword or a pen, you always say sword. Don't you know the pen is mightier?" Everyone laughed, and Neel just smiled quietly. When Arin heard this, he went home and asked, "Son, why do you always say the sword is more powerful when you know it isn't?" Neel looked up and said calmly, "Every day the king gives me two gifts to choose from, a sword or a book. I always pick the sword. He laughs, the courtiers laugh, and I walk away. But I don't care what they think. You want to know why?" He opened a large wooden box. Inside were dozens of finely crafted swords. "Each day I take the sword and store it here. If I ever say the pen is more powerful, the game ends. No more gifts, no more fun. The king enjoys seeing me act silly, but in silence I've collected more than they can imagine." Arin was speechless. He looked at his son with pride and said, "Sometimes the world calls you foolish simply because it cannot understand your game." From that day on, whenever someone mocked Neel, Arin would just smile and walk away. Dear friends, in life, not everything needs to be explained. The world often misunderstands silence, patience, and quiet cleverness. But if you know your path, your goal, and your truth, it doesn't matter what others say. Always remember, wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers. And the wisest ones often walk alone, collecting quiet victories. If you like who needs this lesson today, stay kind, stay humble, and keep walking your path. See you again with another story. Till then, keep believing.